Blog Talk Radio.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Flesh Wound After Dark freaks, the real freaks here for Flesh Wound After Dark. We're running our. This is the first time we've ever done it separately. I don't know if we'll do that often. Maybe once in a while, depending kind of what comes in for us. But of course, we had our return show Thursday. We've been gone month and a half, and we had a build-up of titles that kind of warranted the Flesh Wound After Dark label, so we went ahead and just did a separate show because we had several films lined up that some fell in the softcore side of things, erotic thriller side of things, and some went the full Triple X Monty, so we got a good mix of stuff, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So kind of take you guys through several unique eras in erotic film tonight. And Todd, how have you been? It's not been that long since I've talked to you, obviously, this time, and I'll talk to you again Thursday because we have a regular show again Thursday, but how have you been?
I've been well. Looking forward to our first pure After Dark show. So I guess we don't have because we're normally super PG on our regular show. So
this is like where we can be extra offensive and talk about more disgusting sexual acts than we would on. This is like. Our regular show's vivid, and this is like Two Girls, One Cup. So, it's classy versus the dregs of society. So, there you go. You can't complain. If you're listening to this show and you're inclined to be offended, you probably want to stop listening now. So, I'm just throwing it out there. I did want to make a special note. I don't know. Probably not a lot of people listening live right now because I wrote 9 o'clock and we are currently airing this live at 7, so we should be done before 9, so anybody planning to listen at 9, hopefully the audio's all loaded and Blog Talk's done its thing and it doesn't impede your ability to listen to us. But like I always tell people when that happens, the only time you might have an issue listening is it right after we wrap a live show. There's sometimes like 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so where they're loading whatever, and you can always listen to us later if for some reason Blog Talk's being shitty. So hopefully it won't be a problem. But I just wanted to throw it out there. If you're hearing us now, it ended up being 7. I don't think anything in the way of news, so we'll probably be a bit shorter. Oh, there is.
There is one piece of news which we'll probably talk about it more on Thursday, but it was announced today via, I believe it's the Hollywood Walk of Fame that, it is for the Walk of Fame, but I believe that's the website, that George Romero will be getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Long overdue, I'd say. Sometime in 2017. Sometime in 2017. Oh, yeah. I'm like, sooner the better. I love Romero, and he's not getting any younger, so let's get this done. I already have a few people who want to go up there for that, so I'm definitely going to have to go.
Well, there are people on there, celebrities that aren't half as influential to modern day movies and television for that matter, for George Romero. So I'd say that's way, way overdue. And yeah, God, I'll have to go down to California. That'd be kind of a cool little photo op. Go down there, maybe take in some UEW shows and get a picture at Romero's star. So,
yeah.
Speaking of which, before we get into the show, anything going on in the UEW world that we should know about?
There's always something, but I'll save that for Thursday. This is a different kind of hardcore. We're going with a different kind of hardcore crowd tonight.
Yeah, that's true. That's barbed wire hardcore, and this is bareback hardcore. So it's a little bit different. So without further ado, we'll get into the show tonight, and well, we got to kick it off with some Vinegar Syndrome, part of their Peakorama Big 2-Unit Show DVD double features, and I guess we'll kind of go in order because we have a 70s double feature and an 80s double feature, and we'll tackle them one by one, movie by movie. And the first one is called Harlot, from director Howard Zime, who this is from 1970, and follows Mary and Melody, who are best friends, though Melody is uncomfortable around Mary's sexual openness. After finally being coaxed into sexual experimentation, Melody begins to discover her erotic self and indulges in a series of sexual adventures, each wilder than the last. One of the most transgressive early X-rated films, Harlot is an avant-garde influenced anti-establishment oddity, presented fully uncut for the first time on DVD. Can't say I ever saw this one before. Of course, I'm familiar with the director's work. He's had some other stuff put out through Alpha Blue Archives and Vinegar Syndrome. And I should point out that this is a truly uncut version, as they say. Alpha Blues ran, I think, like 47 minutes or something like that. So this one, still not a long film by any means, but it runs 64 minutes. So if you're a fan of it, I can't speak to what was cut out, but you're definitely getting the full film. And having said that, this movie, oh God, is it wild. It's such a funny movie that is just so perfect for the 70s era. I mean, it's just a great example of that era. And I think I'm going to call this movie really should have been called Sex in Strange Places, because we get a lot of very dangerous sex acts. We get the car blowjob scene. Before that was a staple of every porno movie ever made. I was waiting for the Pizza Man, but that wasn't in here. And it's one of those ones, I don't know if you'll agree with me, Todd, it works so well, even just as a sex comedy. There's so many scenes that made me laugh in this, from particularly the old woman who the elevator opens up while Melody, I believe it was giving a blowjob, and the elevator, and the reaction, Mary actually, the reaction was just priceless. I mean, for some people listening to this thinking, well, I don't really have any desire to see porn, it's all the same, you should go back and watch some of these. They really, God, just such a time capsule, and I was laughing my ass off. And I know you have to like it, Todd, because there is a rape scene, and although it's the only rape scene I've ever witnessed where after this kind of sort of rape scene, which is set to Benny Hill style music, she decides to run with this overweight biker through the woods, kind of just holding hands and in one of the less pleasant scenes, the dude's kind of freeballing it there. So for just throwing it out there, there's something for the ladies too. I love this movie. God, Todd, but what did you think? There's so much to say about it.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was. I don't want to say a string of different scenes. I mean, yeah, the through characters, but it was definitely sex in strange places. And like you mentioned, the biker at the end and the whole the whole rape scene, and I don't know. He to quote Mike Tyson, he fucked her till she loved her. Yeah, right? Is that what it was? I don't know what was going on there. Yeah,
that's where he got it from.
Yeah, apparently this
Robin
is
Gibbons, that bitch is ludicrous. That's a weak Mike Tyson, but I tried. What can I say? Yeah, I mean, I don't do impressions that well. I can do Steven Seagal, which I think probably anybody can, but that's about it. I never did impressions very well, but yeah, I mean, everything in this, I mean, it's not one that I would suggest you pick up strictly for the erotic content. I mean, the girls in this are pretty average looking, and you have the lesbian teacher who catches the male teacher having sex with one of the students in the toilet, which leads to some blackmail three-way action that was pretty funny. But just, I mean, the entire movie, I mean, I got more laughs out of this than I have recent Hollywood comedies. There's, like I said, some of it's funny, not so much erotic. There's a scene where one guy picks the girl up and likes to have her tickle his balls with a hairbrush.
Yeah, I was.
You hit the fast forward button, Todd. Let's admit it.
I was kind of confused on what was going on there.
Yeah, there was some male penetration with the brush, so I will throw that out there as a warning. There was some Kanye West action, with the brush in place of the finger, so yeah, I mean, it's just such a funny movie. Again, even if you're somebody that, and this is maybe a good way to get your girlfriend that doesn't want to watch porn to watch it, because this is funny porn. So it's like, it's okay. Yeah. You can put it on, and and like I said, you do get to see the burly biker rapist schlong bouncing around in a meadow. So, there's something for the ladies too. They can't complain. There is some male nudity in this.
It was like the biker Baywatch scene.
Yeah. Yes. God, I was laughing my ass off. I think I spit like soda out of my nose while I was watching that, because they kind of set it up like it's going to be a particular, a brutal sort of rape scene, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like he's chasing her around Benny Hill style, and then she kind of halfway through starts to, I guess, like it, and then they joyously run through the woods or meadow or whatever it was. I had a hell of a time watching this, and obviously, if you're listening tonight and you're just a listener of the regular show, you'll know we're reviewing these on a different scale. But this gets high marks. We'll rate them, I guess, since it's a package. We'll rate it together at the end after we talk about the other movie. But I love this. I mean, from the rooftop sex scene, which apparently they did without permission, which was I still have to listen to the commentary on this one, but yeah, I mean, I had a hell of a time, and it's this is early 70s, so this is a very early example of hardcore cinema. And I want to throw it out there. If you don't recognize the director, who also co-directed this with another guy, but Howard Zime was also notable for directing Flesh Gordon and the follow-up Flesh Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. He also did Star Virgin, another classic that we reviewed here in the past. And I love this movie. This was a pleasant surprise that I had not seen before. So, Todd, anything else to say about Harlot before we move on to the other Howard Zime directed film on this release?
No, I think you nailed it on that one. I'm looking forward to our next one.
I had everybody with burly biker freeballing it in the meadows, so
you can't
there we
add
go.
Anything to that.
Yeah, I know. Dude getting his balls tickled by a hairbrush, that, like I said, there's something there for the ladies, so that they can't say that this one is, anti-woman. She penetrates them pretty hard with that brush, so there you go. The second film, which was made just 1 year later in 1971, is Tijuana Blue. And this one, after discovering that his girlfriend is pregnant, a man named Jamie agrees to assist on a drug run from Tijuana back to L.A. so he can raise the money necessary for an abortion. However, upon his arrival in Mexico, he soon discovers that there may be a little more to the operation than drugs. They have the hanger method back then, so went through a lot of trouble. Todd, you were a big fan of this one. What did you think?
I thought, just like the last one, I thought this one was hysterical, especially hysterical knowing some of the geography of when they're heading to Mexico. I'm using air quotes there, because at one point I see them like on the way to Magic Mountain. So that's like the wrong way. I don't know if they grabbed stock footage or what. And yeah, it's the least Mexican Tijuana I've seen in my entire life.
So you're saying you've went whoring down in Tijuana in your youth?
I am not saying that, but even I think those who haven't been to Tijuana,
pre-wife, pre-married days.
I have not been whoring in Tijuana. But I think even the average man is going to just assume in Tijuana you're going to have, Mexican whores, not white and black whores. Not being racist or anything. I'm just,
Well, you can say that. That's okay.
I mean, is it just me? I mean, isn't that what's to be expected with your heading off to CJ?
You needed they have you needed the Cheech scene. We have black pussy, white pussy, Chinese pussy. They didn't have that. They have everything, I'm sure. I haven't been whoring in Tijuana, but it's still on my bucket list.
I was going to say yet, you mean?
Huh?
I said, you mean you haven't gone yet?
Yeah, it's on my bucket list. You have to go whoring in Tijuana. I'm still single, so I can go whoring in Tijuana, Todd. I don't have to, I can just put it right out there that that's what I'm doing, and there you go. So I don't have to go incognito. So yeah, I mean, what did you think of this one? Of course, being in California, and you've been down to Mexico in the past, haven't you, for some wrestling shows?
I haven't gone for wrestling shows, but I've been down there. I've been down there twice, I think. Not not my weekend hangout or anything. But the Tijuana streets are pretty accurate with the guys selling stuff outside. But it does look like they actually went to Tijuana. I don't blame the company not trying to go inside and actually film in there. I mean, so anyone expecting a donkey show is going to be sadly mistaken. Go watch Clerks 2.
especially if you take your kids and don't quite realize what happens to the donkey.
Excuse me, I'm still
that would be pretty bad.
Yeah. It's like, when Shrek come out? Yeah.
Shrek's gonna come, all right.
Yeah, right.
See, I've never been to a donkey show. Yeah, damn, Todd, I'm gonna go on like Priceline and book my tickets for Tijuana now after the show. But determined to talk about the movie and not just donkey fucking. One thing that I loved about this, I mean, it's obviously kind of a road trip 70s porn flick, and I loved I call him 70s Stifler, the buddy.
Yeah.
It's just, the entire time was just there to get laid. I mean, he brought him for protection, and the guy just wants to do nothing but get laid. And I know it wasn't the most authentic thing, but I did see the 20-cent tacos signs. It was a better day in the 70s when you can get 20-cent tacos and 20-cent tacos and as you said, black and white tacos, but not a lot of Mexican tacos on display in this one. But you did during the strip club scene.
Yeah, there was one, I think.
Yeah, there were one or two, and I have to say there was a particularly gross scene. Did you notice the herpes-like sore on the one girl?
I did.
Yeah, that was. They showed it like a couple times, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." Props for shooting the scene with her, because that was not not kosher. That was pretty raunchy. Yeah, I mean, this is another one. I actually preferred Harlot, and you preferred this one, but
go figure.
This still had some. Huh?
I said, go figure.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I kind of had said you might have a new favorite movie going into this, and you thought I was talking about this one, but it's still funny. I mean, we get to see a stripper smoke a vagina cigarette, which I have seen that before. That's a strip club staple. And some music, some very popular music of the day that I know they didn't clear for the strip club scene. And, yeah, I mean, this one has a story, and, much like the other one, I don't know, I just prefer the other one. But another theme with this one used to be under an hour, also from, I think, the Alpha Blue Archives, I believe, as well. And now it runs 92 minutes. So anybody that's seen it before, maybe didn't recognize its awesomeness, can now see it in its full glory. This is one, I'm trying to remember the title, but Something Weird, I think, had Tijuana Blue under, and not one of their main releases. I think it was one of the DVD-R ones under, I want to say House of Horrors or something, because I distinctly remember seeing a less quality version of this from them at some point. But but yeah, it vagina cigarettes, beer bottle diddling, and the whitest Tijuana prostitutes you've ever seen. So can't go wrong. So I guess we can review the whole package, starting with the movies. And again, being clear, this is not a rating scale that I would rate, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example. I'm ranking these among the genre, so I just always try and make that clear. Harlot really did it for me. I mean, it was so fucking funny, and but the erotic content obviously was not the best, but I didn't really care with this one. But I give that one a 4 out of 5, and Tijuana Blue I give a 3 out of 5. I had a lot of fun with both. Both films look fantastic. Vinegar Syndrome, as always. I know I sound like a broken record with them, but fantastic. And I would say this is one of the better under-the-radar releases from him, from Vinegar Syndrome, because I had a really good time with Harlot. I think it's just a blast. Todd, what say you?
I am the exact same, but exactly flipped.
There you go.
I give Harlot the 3 out of 5 and Tijuana Blue the 4 out of 5. While I did enjoy them both, I did slightly favor Tijuana Blue for the humorous aspects.
There we go. Well, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, when I saw the Benny Hill kind of, not really rape scene, because it never really got to be a rape scene per se, but I don't know. Maybe he was technically chasing her. It's just they both looked awfully joyous as they were running, running through the woods nude. But what can you say? So, the overall package, obviously highly recommended. And there is a commentary track as well. So, you don't always get extras on the Peakorama ones, but you get the director commentary, and Howard Zime is still living, actually, I believe. So definitely check it out. So moving on, we did a Vinegar Syndrome, and I guess we'll move on to, still technically the 70s, the late 70s, and we're getting into, I don't even want to say softcore, and that's, it is, but that might be a theme with some of these movies to kind of talk about. But this film is the 1978 Ozploitation classic from director John D. Lamond, Felicity, not to be confused with the CW show, or I think it was CW.
Yeah, I know.
This is the better one.
I was expecting something completely different. No Carrie Russell, is that the right one?
I know. See, if it were back in the video days, that'd be what I would say this is, and this is what I'd actually be picking up. In my youth, I used to have a talent for figuring out which movies, showed the goods, and I'm sure they wondered why I would be renting like a Shakespearean drama. It's probably because there were beaver shots in it, so that's why. So, Felicity, she ain't Mama's little girl no more. The luscious Glory Annan stars as Felicity Robinson, a sheltered teen who surrenders her blossoming body to a world of bold sexual adventure. From her forbidden pleasures at an all-girls school in England to wanton hungers in the exotic underground of Hong Kong, Felicity finds herself deflowered, defiled, and ultimately delighted by the shame and ecstasy of a libido unleashed. Penthouse model Joni Flynn co-stars in this notorious erotic odyssey that defined a generation of horny young men, and quite a few women too. Severin Films is proud to present Felicity fully restored in HD for the first time ever, featuring hours of titillating extras, including 2 complete erotic feature films from the vaults of John D. Lamond. So, one of my all-time favorite films, and I have to say, this might be a strong candidate for the best erotic film ever made. And I hate just dismissing this one as softcore porn. That label almost doesn't quite fit it because it's such a beautifully made, well-acted film with fantastic production values. I mean, the shooting in Hong Kong, it's not a cheap skin flick by any means. And it's also very couple-friendly. I mean, you can kind of watch this one. There's a lot of nudity. I mean, a lot of nudity and a lot of sex, more than I even remembered. But it doesn't feel particularly dirty. And there's just something about Gloria Annan. She was kind of like the 70s Misty Monday. She didn't really look like other actresses in softcore films. She had the girl next door quality about her, and I think it was just an incredibly sexy woman. And the cover for this should be a Twix commercial, because I would buy an entire Costco tub of Twix based on this cover. Todd, I got a lot to say about it, but I'll let you jump in. What do you think? Is this one that you have a long history with, that you remember from back in the day?
I think my first time was on the first on the first Severin Films disc. I don't remember seeing it previous to that. But I did enjoy it. I've enjoyed it every time I've watched it. It's been quite a while, and the obvious Emmanuelle influences aside, I think it's a good enough film that stands on its own. I mean, it's always hard to compare, not to compare, stuff like this to that. That's always pretty much the big name one from the era. But I really like this take on a similar subject matter, and yeah, it's definitely production-wise just as good as anything to come out of Australia. I mean, that era. I mean, they definitely were banking on this one being a success, and I don't know. I'm assuming this. I know this did well in Australia. I don't know how it did around the world, and I don't remember if they brought that up on the extras.
They do talk about it being quite popular, because she saw billboards and actually seeing it in a theater, which must have been kind of interesting from her perspective. You do think about Emmanuelle, and of course there were all the follow-ups, the Laura Gemser classics, and I'm going to say this, though. I prefer this to the original Emmanuelle. I know it's old, but I love this movie.
I will go with that, but you know me, it can't touch Black Emmanuelle in America. But that's just me.
That is That is true. That is true. Some of those aren't quite as classy and sexy as this one was. Emmanuelle in America, of course, is also a classic, and pretty much all of them are. The Last Cannibal, Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals. Another one I'm waiting for Blu-ray. I don't know.
Some of the ones I prefer aren't as sexy as this one, so it's a bit of a different genre.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And this is, like I said, there's tons of nudity. And every sexual situation you could imagine. It's a very sexy film, but this one, like I said, it doesn't feel, like an exploitation film per se. I mean, it really kind of had a legitimate story to tell, and it's got the girl meets guy, get separated and come back together aspect that kind of makes it couple friendly, and there's a lot of politically incorrect humor here and there. The fashion design guy that kind of comes off as a gay stereotype, yet he still likes to taste and sniff Felicity's panties. So it's kind of a contradiction. It was interesting. She also gets defiled by the Aussie Magnum PI on his car, so that was another kind of funny sex scene. But for the most part, I mean, it's just a beautiful ass film. I mean, the production values are stunning. I mean, it hasn't been super long since I've seen this, and I saw it, I don't know, it would have been on cable at some point back in the day on, I don't know if it would have been HBO or Cinemax or what, but this is one I saw way back, and it holds up. It really does hold up, and it's too bad that Gloria Annan didn't do more films like this. She actually said she turned down in the extras a number of erotic films. And, well, before I get into the extras, which we'll rate the package separately, but this movie, among its genre, gets a 5 for me. I think it's perfection. If you enjoy well-made erotic films and Felicity's not in your collection, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Todd, what say you about the movie, and we can talk a little bit about the extras.
I give it a 4.5. It's solid. Like I said, there's a few I think I enjoy better, but it's definitely top notch. It's up there.
Okay. And getting into the extras, there is an audio commentary with the producer and / director John Lamond and Gloria Annan. Well worth a listen to. You also get not from one of my favorite documentaries, if not my absolute favorite, documentaries, Not Quite Hollywood, on the Aussie film industry. There's some outtakes from Gloria Annan talking a little bit more about the film in depth, and John D. Lamond and the cinematographer. A lot of good info on this. Gloria talks about growing up in a small Canadian town and how she got into these films and everything, and top-notch stuff. What really makes this a hell of a value is there are 2 other feature films. We're not going to review them separately because time constraints, but the ABCs of Love and Sex, also from Lamond, and Australia After Dark. Both feature-length films, also included in the special features, kind of the kind of Aussie sort of sex mondo trend there. Kind of never, those types of films were never my favorite type of genre, so it's kind of cool getting them as extras here. It's a much better value than buying them separately, and well worth a look.
Yeah. There's not, even if we were decided to review those, with the Mondo stuff, it is kind of, it's a little harder to cover those.
Yeah, it is. I think that's kind of a dead art form. It's kind of hard to do a Mondo flick now and make it work. Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, but I own those both on DVDs, and I am glad they've been included, and it definitely, like you said, it rounds out off the package so well. I mean,
yeah, it's a hell of a value, and so it's a 5 and 5 for me. I mean, movie and package. I think this one is a must-have.
Package, I agree, definite 5.
Awesome. So, I always do this. Do we have a song?
We do, I do.
Okay,
I have a treat for you. And I have a treat for you.
Didn't want to put you on the spot.
I know. I was rushing to get. This is our first time doing After Dark, so I didn't have a song queued up, so I was kind of trying to multitask, play producer while we're going. Well, since the legend appears in none of our films tonight, I figure we had to figure a way to get Ron Jeremy on here somehow. So we have the classic 90s track, DJ Polo and Ron Jeremy, Freak of the Week. So we'll be back.
Sweet. Troma style.
We'll be back in 3 minutes and 45. All right.
Check it out. Once again, right here live, straight from New York. DJ Paul, my homeboy Ron Jeremy. Yeah. And we kicking this live. Check it out, boys. It goes something like this. Just in case you didn't know, yes, my name is Polo. I'm getting trimmed like a barber's son after every show. So bring them 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 3 by 3. But baby, you look kinda young, so let me see some ID. I'm swinging F like a trapeze with the 44 D's. They're bouncing in the shirt that says 360 degrees. I got the BM, the Benz, so bring all your friends. And just how freaky will we get? Well, it's all depends. Yeah, freak of the week. Yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week. Yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? You see, I jack 'em up and stick 'em up from town to town. You know I smack 'em up and slip 'em up and rub them down. 'Cause I never seen a woman who looks so stunning. When I yank it out my trousers, all the ladies come running. See me drinking at the club, now you're sweating my tail. You hit me with a demo tape so I can check the skills. I guess you know that I'm a connoisseur of big blood hoes. I'm here to kick the kind of rap that every true man knows. Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Polo, I really gotta go. Come on, you gotta stay with me, man. Let's finish this. You got one more verse to do. The verse can wait. I really gotta go. Look at that girl. She's really cute. Look, I gotta go. Look, I'm getting a rise in my Levi's. Oh, no, I can't take a look. Look, you do the singing, I do the nookie. I gotta go. Look at her. Look. Come on, man. We got one more verse. I can't help myself. Look, it's my lifestyle. The song can wait. The verse can wait. I gotta go. Let go. I gotta go. Freak of the week. Yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby. Tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week. Yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby. Tell me, are you a freak? I'm putting money in the bank and having fun with the chick. I'm with my homeboy who gets busy in the porno flick. Rolling down and down to knock the food straight out of the frame. And have you screaming out my name like you have no shame. So don't even try to front like you don't know my stilo. 'Cause we can freaking stay on up or freaking incognito. So just relax your mind and erase your fears. And let me pin your kicking knees way behind your ears. Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak? Freak of the week, yeah, are you a freak? Freak of the week, baby, tell me, are you a freak?
And we are back. That was the Grammy Award-winning Freak of the Week, which not really, but it should have been. It was probably the fuck won that year, but it's not. It wasn't on the level of Freak of the Week. It's probably some Madonna piece of shit, so it should have won. Todd, definitely, that's got to be in the top 10 of all time, I think, for songs. Who was in the video? I remember Corey Feldman was in there with him. Who else
Lemmy.
was in that? I haven't actually watched. Lemmy. Oh yeah, of course, Lemmy was in there.
Those are the two I
Feldman.
remember. Jeez.
I know the dead and the soon to be dead in that music video. But yeah, that was a classic. Ron Jeremy needs to do more. He needs to do an entire rap album. Bring it, I had the pleasure of meeting Ron Jeremy. Well, I met him a few times, but I had the pleasure of meeting him right before he had like his massive heart attack. I think within like a couple weeks, if that. and I hear the news, and I'm looking because I got this like protein shake that he was fine. He told me, he's like, you take this, you'll best health of your life. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, fuck, I never got to taste the protein shake. I kind of tossed it after the massive heart attack or whatever it was that he had. I never got to try the shake, man. But yeah. I didn't talk to him about porn. It was the AVN Awards in Vegas, but I talked to him about all his non-porn stuff and was a really cool dude. Did you ever meet Jeremy?
Yeah, at the Troma Booth Shocker, I know. He was there with the
sweet.
Bunny Ranch guy. Forget his name.
Tennis off?
Yes. Yes.
At least I think that's who it is. I have no idea who that is, Todd. But
yeah, I know. How would you know such a person?
Of course. I'm better than that. Damn it.
You did
really.
not. You did not even skip a beat.
Of course, Cat House is an awesome show that needs to come back soon because I miss it. Much like what was it? Real Sex hasn't had a new one in forever, and Shock Video. I miss HBO's softcore porn series. They need to softcore reality porn series. They need to bring them back. I miss them very much.
Then they had the Vivid ones too. Seymour Butts ones.
Yeah. I think
those were.
They don't do them anymore. Pornocopia, I think, is like one of the last ones that on the porn industry. But they don't do those anymore. And that's like I grew up loving that. Like, I remember we didn't always have HBO or the movie channels, but we usually did. And even occasionally when there'd be like that free trial, it's like, oh God, I hope Real Sex is on. I'm going to record it on VHS. Before I moved, I actually found a bunch of my stash of softcore porn that I recorded on like HBO, and I finally tossed it out. It was time for some bum maybe somewhere that had a VCR found it in the trash heap, and you pay it forward.
Yeah, I still see Cat House and Real Sex pop up on the pay channels.
Yeah, they're still on, but there's nothing new.
Yeah. I know they were doing the specials with Cat House, but those have dried up. Hell, I'd even like to see some Taxi Cab Confessions. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. A little less softcore porny than Real Sex, but yeah, Taxi Cab Confessions was cool. I feel like there's an entire show based on that. I remember at one point I think I started a petition to release like Real Sex on DVD, but they've never done it. At this point, I'd say that's not looking too good, but it still gets replayed once in a while.
Here's one I got to recommend for you if you've never seen it. Get these DVDs. There was the Playboy series Totally Busted. It was a prank. Did you know the show?
I do know that one. I don't know if I ever saw it all though, but yeah, I have seen it.
It's the prank show where they have naked chicks. The ones I always felt bad for when the guys thought they were going to get some, and then it's like, it's a joke. I was like, that's fucked up. But it was like
cruel.
It was like scare tactics with naked chicks. So it is.
It's kind of like that feeling when you're out of money and you realize the strippers don't really like you for you, and it hurts. It hurts. But we'll have to do a show on old school pay channel softcore at some point. Maybe get a campaign to put them on DVD.
I'm sure we'll have some. If we go that route, we'll have some talk of another director we're reviewing tonight.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
Or maybe his alter ego, HR Blueberry.
Yeah. Yes, the great H.R. Blueberry. They both belong in the Cinema Hall of Fame. They both, not Wynorski and Blueberry, should have a fucking star. I'm throwing that out there. Romero, Wynorski, and Blueberry, they are next. I want those goddamn stars immediately. I'm going to start a campaign. I'm dead serious. I started a campaign, and I know we're veering off track, and we will get back to the movies in just a moment. But I do have a campaign on Facebook with, I think, maybe like 12 people in it that didn't even join by themselves. I added them to the group. But to bring back Steven Seagal's energy drink, because I tried this god-awful bullshit Rockstar cucumber energy drink that felt like it was like Canadian yak jizz. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was the most raunchy thing I've ever tasted in my life. And I want Steven Seagal's Lightning Bolt. It's classic. It's made from exotic botanicals, and it belongs back in stores. So you can join that, and the next one is going to be an official petition to put Wynorski on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Belongs there. So moving on to, well, we've had some 70s porn, some 70s softcore porn, and now we'll get into some 80s XXX porn. You know, we're kind of going back and forth here. And this is another Vinegar Syndrome release, the Peakorama double feature line. And the first film, both from director Richard Mailer, is Physical Attraction, which follows a young hooker who is tired of her involvement in the sex trade and her pushy pimp. Her true passion is running, and after meeting an enthusiastic coach who sees potential in her athletic abilities, among other things, she finds herself in training with the hope of making it to the Olympics. So, Physical Attraction. Todd, what did you think of this one? Kind of the Chariots of Fire with blowjobs.
I'll admit I was a little underwhelmed with this one. It wasn't. I mean, it was compared to the other two. I was kind of underwhelmed with it.
So you're basically saying there was no biker free balling, so you didn't like it.
Pretty much. No, I didn't hate it. I mean, it was. It was. I'm soft shooting around it. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite of our features of the night. Yeah, you know, I mean, these in particular were very plot driven. I mean, this was 1984. And, you know, that often is a very good thing. I mean, I find I agree.
With XXX films, you know, usually they're better when they do have a bit of a storyline. This one certainly has it. And the great Shauna McCullough, who plays Bobby here, is actually a really good actress. She's one of the XXX stars of her era that could legitimately act, and she came off as very likable. I mean, it feels like an actual movie. Like I said, I mean, there's even a Chariots of Fire running montage, and yeah, she's very easy on the eyes. She's somebody that left the porn industry at one point. I think she made a return, and then she kind of finally left, but she was a great talent. She kind of the director also remained pretty active into the mid-2000s before he had passed away. And this is another perfect example. I mean, Vinegar Syndrome is just probably the most reliable company for transfers, and they put out a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe if I went over their entire catalog, I could maybe find one movie maybe that may not have been stellar, but they're always top notch. it's amazing how some of these films look, and this is no exception. And you know, I got through this one pretty well. I mean, it had a good mix of a legitimate dramatic storyline, you know, falling in love with the coach and everything, and it's a little bit anticlimactic because she kind of goes to the Olympics, but it's not really shown, just her abusive pimp kind of reacting to it. But I guess, you know, time, production costs didn't allow us to have a big I wanted like a slow motion race or something with maybe like some like Russian musclehead lesbian character or something. That's what I would have done. I wanted the "I will break you" scene.
Yeah, I was just say you wanted this to needed to be a little more Rocky IV.
It did need to be a little more Rocky IV. I mean, you know, she needed to fuck for America, damn it. And you know, then it would have been better. I mean,
that
as it stands,
yeah,
you know.
He would have had to wait until physical attraction 4 for that. Come on, you got to build up to that.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We do. They needed the Russian. I don't know who would have played it. Maybe some kind of Amazon type porn star of the time, but yeah, I mean, you know, the sex scenes were pretty good. You know, we get some reverse pile driver action, and you did get a very unique hanging from an exercise machine, kind of standing 69 scene, which is probably a highlight for the erotic content. And, you know, yeah, like I said, it's Pretty Woman melded with Chariots of Fire with fucking. And, you know, it's not quite as good as that sounds, but it's still a solid movie. I mean, you know, I give it a 3. Not a must-see, but it did it for me. What say you, Todd?
See, I as just a straight porn film, there's no issues with it. With the After Dark stuff, I like a little bit more out of the ordinary, a little bit more, you know, take out the sex, a little more entertainment aside than the other stuff. I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's just, you know, not technically what I recommend for our After Dark listeners. I mean, it's, you know, basically a full-on just sex flick. I mean, which isn't saying it's like a gonzo film. I mean, you still have your plot and everything.
Yeah.
It's no blue eye. It's no blue ice, is all I'm saying.
No. It's not a masterpiece.
No, I give it a 2, 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the middle. I mean,
it's fair.
If you are a fan of the Golden Era stuff, and not just looking for something you know to drink a beer and laugh at with your buddies, this is not that kind of adult film. This is more.
No.
Yeah. So, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's worth a watch, and well, I guess getting right on to the second of this double feature, which is Classical Romance, again also from director Richard Mailer, and also from 1984. And this one features, a good deal of the same cast. Paul Thomas stars as Eric, a frustrated musician who performs nightly at a piano bar. An encounter with a beautiful young woman leads him on a journey of erotic self-discovery during which he must decide whether he will follow his heart or carnal pleasures. I don't know why he can't do both, but there you go. This one features the beautiful Jacqueline Lorians as Laura. She actually she didn't do a lot of adult films, but she had a nice run in the 80s. She retired in 1989 after winning I know she won an ABN award for one of her films. She did the classic parody Ball Street in 1988, which coincidentally Charlie Sheen was probably on set there too. So that's one worth tracking down. Pretty good cast, although this one does have Herschel Savage as Charles, kind of the abusive husband. And speaking of actors, I mean, Herschel Savage was good. He's like one of those guys that you could hire for a regular movie. He didn't do a whole lot of that, but definitely one of the guys that was a legit actor as well as a performer. And yeah, I mean, this is another one. Very, I mean, there's probably, God, at least 10 sex scenes in it, but it's also pretty plot-driven. Probably the funniest, and it's not an overly humorous porn flick. Again, our earlier double feature is great for laughs, but I will say I got a good laugh, and I gotta wonder if they had the same idea for American Psycho and copied this, where Herschel Savage was banging his mistress while looking at himself in that handheld mirror. I lost it with that. I was waiting for him to ask if she liked Huey Lewis in the News.
Right.
I wanted Susudio, but they probably couldn't clear it. They needed some Phil Collins, but that was a particularly funny scene, and you recognize the same makeshift gym from the other film. I'm sure they shot these back to back. But yeah. Todd, what did you think of this one?
I actually like this one a little more than the first one.
Okay.
Same comment as the last one. It is very, very much more of a standard adult feature than the more of the outlandish stuff we tend to go for. Again, not so much of a bad thing. It is. I don't know. I found myself a little more interested in this one than the first one. I don't know. And it was definitely well acted, and there was I don't know which one had more scenes, but yeah.
Yeah, this one I would give the edge in terms of the porn content by a little bit, and it's also a bit anticlimactic though, because they did have a story. There's no real way to spoil this stuff, but I kind of wanted that fight scene with Herschel Savage at the end, just like he had with Ron Jeremy in that other film. They didn't have the fight scene. It seemed like they might have set up for a confrontation there at the end, and they didn't do that. But hey, it's got a really sleazy villain in Herschel Savage, some beautiful women, and yeah, it's another solid double feature. It's nowhere near the other one, the Howard Syme double feature, but it's still worth picking up. Classical romance. I give this one a 3 out of 5. Todd, what say you?
I am the exact same. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Awesome. And yeah, so check that out as well. We're all caught up now with our Vinegar Syndrome reviews, which I'm glad. We'll have more of those, I'm sure, in July. Fortunately, they took a month off, so I was kind of like, and I didn't realize that. I was like, wow, we're going to have a lot of Vinegar Syndrome to catch up on. So hopefully we'll get to do more of that in July. I'm trying to think. I know Petey Wheatstraw is coming. I have to double check what else. They have some well, they always do, but they have some really cool movies coming.
I actually have Vinegar Syndrome open right now. They have The Candy Tangerine Man. Which is another blaxploitation with Lady Coca. You mentioned Petey Wheatstraw, and then we have Corporate Asses, Both Ways, and Take One. So we got 3 right there. Maybe we'll try to do a monthly After Dark.
Yes. Well, yeah, we will have to do that. And you pointed out, I guess I made a mistake. Paul Thomas was the actor I was talking about. What did I say?
Herschel Savage. I was like, wait, that's it threw me off. I didn't want to call you out on there. I was like,
well, Herschel Savage was the villain.
Yeah. Okay, but there was one scene.
Maybe I misspoke.
I don't know. I got confused. I was like, okay.
I may have misspoke somewhere, but yes, Savage was the villain. So, we have our final film for the evening, which is Sorceress. Never thought I'd see this on Blu-ray. There's a lot of stuff from this era that isn't on Blu-ray from Wynorski and others, but we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm sure this is going to spark some other discussion as well. And from the back cover, Larry Barnes, played by Larry Poindexter, is on the fast track to a partnership in a prestigious law firm. And his sexy witch wife, Erica, played by Julie Strain, will do anything to keep her husband happy. But Erica makes a fatal mistake when she tries to kill Larry's main competition for the partnership, Howard Reynolds, played by the late Edward Albert. With Howard now crippled for life from Erica's dark magic, his wife Amelia, Linda Blair, plots a revenge using witchcraft and a mystical medallion. Amelia tries to destroy everyone and everything in Larry's life. All the pleasures of the flesh and malevolence of black magic collide in this newly remastered and uncensored version of Jim Wynorski's Sorceress, a.k.a. Temptress. Presented for the first time ever from a new 2K scan of the uncut vault materials, this Blu-ray features extended sex scenes and additional nudity removed from the original release. So, Todd, I know you're a fan. You know I'm a fan. What did you think? Because goddamn, does this look good in high definition? Yeah,
absolutely. We kind of figured that was going to happen when we heard Synopsis was handling it. Both of us being big Warnowski fans are very excited for this one coming. And it looked absolutely beautiful. I don't remember the film well enough to notice the additional stuff. I think you noticed a little bit more than I did. But this has always been one of those, See, I didn't realize it was 95. I thought it was a little before that. It wasn't until I was like...
Yeah, shot in 93, and it came out in 95.
Yeah, I remember it's one of the first DVDs I picked up. Way back... Jeez, man. Yeah, 95.
That has been out of... God, the DVD version of this, that has been out of print for forever. It's gone for... It's funny because when this came out, you see some of the people that were selling it for $150, and it's gone down now, obviously. Yeah. But that DVD has been out of print since the beginning of the format, it seems. And yeah, as far as the look goes, wow. I've never seen this film like this, and I did want to throw out there because I did notice when I watched the film, it did seem to me like there was significant nudity and sex bits that I did not remember. And in Jim Wynorski's audio commentary, kind of sheds light on VHS and cable. There was a hard R, soft R cut of the film. I believe the hard R, the main thing was the frontal nudity on the girls, particularly Julie Strain at the beginning. There's some frontal nudity. The soft R cut out a lot of stuff. I think I saw both versions on video and cable back in the day. So I can say, well, I don't have the video anymore to compare, that it was pretty significant. So you're definitely getting Julie Strain in all her glory in 1080p. That should be 1080 double D.
And in her prime.
Yes. You know, though, she's still, I don't know her personally, obviously, but she's on my Facebook. I've seen recent photos, and she's still a damn good-looking lady. But she was easy on the eyes doesn't begin to cover it at this point. And this is probably one of her better-known movies. I mean, you kind of course, you have the Andy Sidaris stuff and Heavy Metal 2000, which had, of course, come later. And I really like this one. This is another one. It's very well made, very you know, it's strange to say classy, but again, it's not just a dirty you know, softcore porn flick. And Wynorski talks about that too, because he always does great commentary tracks. He and Fred Olen Ray, I mean, they could make a Hello Kitty movie, and I would buy it just to see their commentary track on it. They do great commentary tracks. And Hello Kitty might be a softcore title. That might be a Blueberry title. It still kind of works. But, yeah, that's one of the less classy ones. But, yeah, no, I mean, this is one, I mean, it's definitely, if you've never seen it, if you're looking for a straight-up horror film, obviously you might be disappointed. It's definitely an erotic thriller. It's a good example of that with a fantastic cast. I mean, you get to see, of course, Linda Blair. You get to see Michael Parks, who's had a hell of a career resurgence lately with Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino, and of course, just recently in Tusk, which is kind of interesting seeing him again in this. I forgot he was actually in this, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, you have the 3-girl scene, which, yeah, that kind of speaks for itself. That was one hell of an erotic scene. There was even some toe sucking. I don't know if I remember that in the original cut I saw. It seemed like there were a couple little bits.
Is that
well? Mm-hmm.
You brought up Tarantino, and there was magically some toe sucking.
I know, it was just in my head. I had a flashback to From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, there were a few things. Like I said, it's not a particularly. Again, I keep coming back to this. I mean, and he talks about the erotic thriller era on the commentary track, and Inner Sanctum. That's one I haven't seen in forever, but it's a really good movie from Fred Olen Ray, and kind of really did well. And a lot of people were making these in the early to mid 90s. And looking back, I mean, you're a fan of those as well. I mean, they were really. I mean, the Body Chemistry series. Strip to Kill, that's going a little bit earlier, but they were really good movies.
Yeah. You can't forget Night Eyes. Come on.
Night Eyes, absolutely.
My favorite,
you more of a Strain guy or a Shannon Tweed guy? Or
I go either way, but I think my favorite of the genre is one that stars Shannon Tweed. I haven't revisited it in quite a while, but Scorn was always one of my personal favorites.
Okay, yeah, and he talks about that. A lot of those films I'd love to see on Blu-ray. I hope we get some of them, because again, they weren't. I mean, some people will dismiss them as titty flicks, and some are better than others. I'm not saying they're all classics, but they really functioned as really cool, well acted, and legitimate movies that just were sexy, I guess we'll put it that way. It wasn't just kind of before the softcore porn, because softcore porn really did change as you got deeper into the 90s, where it was just kind of a very thrown together plot and, pretty much just 5 minutes of bullshit in between sex scenes. Not that I don't like those two. We've reviewed plenty of those here, but this is definitely a dead era, and it's kind of a shame. And just getting back to the movie a little bit. Like I said, it's not a horror flick. It's not one you want to put on to scare the shit out of you by any means, but it does have a cool kind of sort of an almost dreamlike, which is very accurate for this movie, feel to it. Just something you would watch, and you could watch from beginning to end. A lot of these modern day softcore flicks, oftentimes you can kind of fast forward. This is one that actually manages to hold your attention from beginning to end. And and the commentary, just getting on that a little bit, a lot of cool stuff. He talks about working with Linda Blair. He only did this with her. Kind of had some good things to say about her, which is interesting because I've met her, and I'm a big animal rights guy myself, so she was very friendly with me, but I know quite a few people that have met her at a convention didn't feel that she has the highest regard for a lot of the movies she's made. I found her a lot more if you want to have a good conversation, talk about the animal stuff with her. But it's kind of interesting. I was kind of curious what it was like working with her, and he had good things to say about her. I did learn, and God, would she have been so much better. He met Julie Strain when she auditioned for 976 Evil 2, and she didn't get that role, but he wanted her to be his Vampirella, but Showtime didn't think she was a big enough name. How fucking cool would that have been, Todd?
Yeah. That definitely would have been. I mean, that seems. I don't get how. Well, she wasn't really a name, but I mean, she seems like she's tailor-made for that part.
Yeah, she would have been perfect. I mean, my God. Yeah. That came out in 96, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't really think of Talisa Soto as a huge name, but I guess she would have been pretty fresh off Mortal Kombat, so that's probably why they went with her. But I mean, another great commentary track. The house they shot in was owned by 3 practicing witches in Los Angeles, which was interesting. They kind of had an interesting view on this film. Lots of great info. His memory recall is so good. I mean, I was only a part of a few films, but I can't remember all of these small details that he manages to remember. Talks a little bit. William Marshall, of course, Blackula. So cool. So he's another one I forgot was in this, quite frankly, and casting him. And, he kind of talks a lot about this era of film, and then that kind of led to the sort of military-themed action flicks like Stealth Fighter. I know you got to be a big ICT fan. You remember Stealth Fighter and some of those flicks, and it's a really good listen. I haven't gotten to listen to the Tom Savini one with him yet, who I guess they met at a convention, and it was kind of an impromptu commentary track that's supposed to be a little more on the comedic side. But, really, really interesting. And the movie, I give this one a 4 out of 5 for its genre. I think that it's a film that maybe a lot of you just haven't seen a lot from this era, because so many of them, I mean, some aren't even on DVD, but very few are on Blu-ray.
Or have been near impossible to get for quite a few years, or unless you wanted to drop a couple of bills on it. And a
lot of them cut too, because that's going back
Yeah.
to that era where some companies they'd put out like a 70-minute butchered version with like nothing, walking into the strip club, then cut to walking out sort of deal.
I know there's one from Warnowski that got butchered by New Concord. Well, there's a few, but I'm trying to think. Treasure. So I can't remember. I remember.
Oh, Treasure Hunts. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that one because I remember the pay TV cut was much longer. I just remember that one being.
I always meant to ask. Yeah, that was one that was really ripped apart. Another one I sensed there might have been a little more was Battle Queen, also with Julie Strain. Was that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember though. That was Wynorski, not Olin Ray, right? I'm pretty sure that was Wynorski.
I'm pretty sure. I know Treasure.
I'm
Hunt
99% sure. I'm just throwing it out there. The two, both of them belong on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but that was one I kind of sensed there might have been a little bit missing. Although that was maybe not. I don't know. That's another one I kind of felt like there might be some cutting room for stuff that I'd love to see.
I remember that one. That could have been intentionally softer one. I do remember liking that one. Trying to see if we can find anything out. I'm just trying to look up the director real quick. If that is Warnowski or not.
I'm 99% sure. I'm just throwing it out there because I'm such a fan. Battle Queen 2020, I think it was.
Yeah. And the internet just wants to be slow today, and I can't spell Queen. Apparently Queen has 2 U's and 1 E. All right, 2001. Director Daniel D'Or. Is that another alias?
That must be, because I know that had to be.
I don't know if it is.
Really?
He's got quite a few producer credits. I don't see a lot of stuff from him. Director, he's got 3. Falling Fire, Battle Queen 2020, Star Hoarder. I don't know.
Falling Fire is a good flick. That's another one not on DVD. Let's see. This is a mystery now. But I could have sworn. But I could be totally.
Oh,
I could be totally. That might just be.
Yeah, he directed Star Hunter for 66 episodes.
Okay, all right, then I'm mistaken then on that one. We apologize, Mr. Wynorski, but I thought for some reason he did do that because he had done other stuff with her, and I thought that was one. So we'll have to ask somebody else entirely about that. But yeah, there's just so much from that era that belongs on Blu-ray. I mean, there's films so good that people just don't remember them. I mean, I've never seen them really from, that really didn't grow up during the VHS era. And Sorceress is certainly one of them. There are better ones though, to be perfectly honest. Wynorski's done quite a few that have unfortunately been lost to time right now, and I would very much like to see. Vampirella is one I would love to see a better version of that at some point. I don't know if we'll ever see it, but I also really liked his Wasp Woman. I don't know what the reviews were on that. I don't think they were great, but that's one I would like to see, and yeah, quite a few out there, and
I think we're gonna have to get that '90s nostalgia to start getting some of this stuff we want out on disc. It's just, and it's funny.
That's
Corman owns a lot of it. And he doesn't seem to like giving a lot of his stuff up that he can still make money off of.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some of it you can still get on Amazon.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Corman, I mean, my God, though, there's I mean, of course there's a lot, but a lot of untapped potential. I know Code Red put out a lot of the Santiago stuff, the Sirio Santiago stuff. I just got Nightfall, of course, and a lot of the post-nuke stuff. But, God, I know it's problematic, though, some of the ones that were edited on video that, you know, are just going to be tough to see them on Blu-ray. But,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky.
I wouldn't be shocked a lot of that stuff, that era, because they were transferring it from film to the video and editing it and editing it that way, and that makes it for a pain to make a new, you know, you have to master it from and basically reconstruct everything. I know that's preventing it. I can't remember the film right now, but I know there's a problem with one that everyone keeps asking for from, you know, some of the bigger independent horror companies, and I can't remember the title off the top of my head.
Yeah. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Bear Wench Blu-ray collection. That'd be pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
The fifth one, I haven't seen the fifth one yet, but he did finally put that out.
Yeah.
God, like in the last year.
I know.
But
I know there was a Paranormal Activity spoof one he had done that got tangled up with some legal issues that still hasn't seen the light of day. Of course, that makes me want to see it a little more.
Again, it's horrible, and I know because I mean they're both legends, and you know I get some of the films jumbled, and I don't know if it was him or Olin Ray, but somebody had one called Cleavage Field, and
I want to say that's Jim Ranowski or H.R. Blueberry.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might be listening and thinking it's like you fucktards. That's not my movie either. Yeah, that's one I saw. Piranaconda. I mean, my God, where's the Blu-ray for that? At least in the U.S.
For the record, it was Jim Warnowski as Salvador Ross. So that was Cleavage.
Okay. All right. There we go. I was pretty sure that one was him.
Scared Topless is another new one. I saw that one on my DVR. So I have that to high def.
Of course you do, Todd. Yeah. The cool thing between, and again, we will rate this film, but I knew we were going to go off. Well, let's rate the film, and then we'll continue to go off topic. Did I already rate it? Shit. Yeah, Sorceress, 4 out of 5. And the package, 5 out of 5. The commentary tracks are awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. I got to say 4.5 and 4.5. I'm not giving it a 5 on overall package, only because I would have liked to seen some video interview also. And I know that's going to hinder a lot of people. I mean, I have no problem listening to commentaries, but even though I know everything would have been covered in the commentary, a lot of people like to watch an actual interview. That's the only shortcoming, I'd say, but it's not one. I'm penalizing it too much. So overall, great.
I imagine I would have loved to have seen a Julie Strain interview. She's always very entertaining. Somehow I don't see Parks or Blair coming in to do an interview. So it's hard to criticize them for that. But there's probably some different people. He even talks about that also. Some of the girls that maybe really were only in a few films, if that kind of, disappeared or got married, moved, wherever, and they kind of just had that little, you'll recognize some in this movie that really, I know her from that and that, but she really didn't do anything else. So it's an interesting commentary track. He has a lot to say, not only about the movie, but other things as well. And but yeah, I mean, just getting back to our little side conversation. Water Wars. There's another one that the last one Santiago worked on before his death, I believe, and that I don't believe has a stateside Blu-ray release either. Unless I think it might have been released overseas, maybe. But there's quite a few. And hopefully, I mean, Lionsgate, that went well for Chopping Mall. I know Chopping Mall is supposedly on its way at some point. So hopefully more of these will come. And that's the one thing I've always really admired about Olin Ray and Wynorski. They could jump from, I mean, you could literally see like a family comedy and then an Ice-T action flick and, a Cinemax softcore porn flick, all in the same year. I mean, they just, their resumes are so diverse.
Yes.
It's just, and so many great memories.
And I remember the one it was. It was Hard to Die, which was directed by
there you go.
Jim Wynorski. That's the problem why there's no HD, because it was edited via tape versus film. So it would have to be reconstructed, which, honestly, give me all the HD scans, I'll do that shit.
Yeah, I was going to throw that out there because you're more knowledgeable in that realm. Is that something? I mean, is it so hard that we have no hope of ever seeing that or many others, or is it?
I think it's a lot more. I think it's a lot more costly, unless they know how well they're cataloged and okay, these are the scenes that need to be scanned to be reconstructed. But it's basically doing the edit all over again. So, don't know how many of these films fall into that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Haunting of Morella didn't. They were able to scan that. The one that
was 1990. So yeah, that I think probably.
Well, it's so was Hard to Die though.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that was. Yeah. Yeah, anything pre-90s, I think you're probably safe on, but
Return of Swamp.
Yeah, I know Code Red in particular. Which one?
Return of Swamp Thing. I would love in high definition.
That was what? Now was that 88, 89? It might be possible. Okay.
I mean, with Sony, I think Sony still has the rights to that. I mean, either way. I think someone else has now. Either way, with the remasters we've seen on that, they've obviously been film-based. I have no fear that an HD master can happen down the road.
Yeah. Well, hell, you can offer your services, Todd. Let's throw it out there. Todd is fair and does great work. So, if anybody wants to put these films out there.
And another one I would kill for in high definition. And it actually has both of the directors, and that is Dinosaur Island.
Yes.
List,
God, I mean, I could go over his entire filmography.
Well, I had to go with that because that's I don't know who's the credited director, but it lists both Fred Olen Ray and Jim Wynorski.
You know what I would like to see, because really the first Sorority House Massacre is not a very good movie in my opinion. I would love to see Sorority House Massacre 2. That would be one I think that would be a pretty hot seller. I agree. Yeah, there's quite a few. I love the body chemistry movies also as well.
Yeah.
And I know Wynorski did 3. He did part 3.
Yes.
And believe he did part 4. I think those were the 2 that he did in that series, but those I wouldn't mind.
You would be correct.
There we go.
And,
there we go. Yeah.
and bad business. Sorry, I put a D in there. Bad business as Bob E. Brown. I never noticed that. That is fucking hysterical.
I think Jay Andrews is the most popular pseudonym. I see that more than anything else. That is one thing. I've always meant to ask in general. I mean, I've asked other people with much smaller resumes, and it's usually just because they didn't care for the film. But I'll see Jay Andrews' name on some films that were damn good, which always. Some of them really kind of confuse me when to use the pseudonym, when not to, because I'll see Jay Andrews pop up a lot, and I'm thinking like, God, that was a really good movie. Harold Blueberry, I noticed, tends to, or H.R. Blueberry tends to be on a lot of the softcore stuff, so I can kind of understand that. But
but then you have the oddball ones, like then he'll be Salvador Ross also. Like for Cleavage Field.
Yeah. Yes. The Devil Wears Nada and something like that. But it's interesting when to use a pseudonym. They're really, and that's another one, Todd, because we keep talking about you doing a documentary for something else, but maybe you need to do a documentary on Wynorski and Fred Olen Ray, maybe a theme. Get a few different directors, and cause I like hearing, particularly about the smaller flicks that you grew up really loving, but don't know really anything about them because there's never been an audio commentary or anything of that nature. That would be pretty good. But Cleavage Field, that still needs to come out. That absolutely needs to come out. Did I tell you about my eBay find? The first 2 Busty Cops
you did
movies. Those DVDs are hard to find. I got the first 2 for a pretty good price used.
Yes, you were telling me about that.
That's something that I've gotten lucky on eBay recently with some out-of-print titles, but yes. Well, we are pretty much at the end of our show. I know we have a little extra time, so just some quick plugs. Again, I'm sorry for the time mix-up, but you should be able to listen just fine at 9 o'clock now or whenever. Next week, we are going to be, or not next week, Thursday, we're going to have reviews for, I know, see, we'll be back to the normal swing of things come next week now, but we will have a review for the film adaptation of Stephen King's novel Cell with Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack. I just got done watching that last night, so I'm eager to talk about that one. We will also have reviews for the horror anthology Southbound. We will have a review for the new Alien Factor Blu-ray, speaking of Fred Olen Ray and Retro Media. We'll have that review. I will have reviews for Grime Wave and Scars from Wild Eye Releasing. We will have a review for the Rabid Dogs, the remake of the classic Baba flick, and feel like I'm missing something, but we have a bunch of reviews Thursday. Obviously, been watching a lot of movies this week, so I think that's all I've got. I will say, because I mentioned this last time, I will have those trivia things. I'm trying to kind of give it through the week, get some people to join the Facebook page. But I will be posting trivia or images to guess the film for some giveaways, and that will happen by the end of the week, absolutely. So join our Facebook page, Flesh Wound Radio. Download us on iTunes and Stitcher. And, yeah, Todd, anything else you need to plug before we bow out here?
I save my plug for Thursday. Now, yeah, don't forget to tune in Thursday. And also makes a great double feature. You can listen to Flesh Wound Radio, followed immediately after on speaker, Hellraiser Radio. So you get a couple podcasts, do a double feature, you got your night covered. And until Thursday, I know, well, it's already coming up. All right, until this Thursday, we will be back with, I don't want to stay in the daytime, but not after dark. We'll be...
No rapey bikers for you guys Thursday, but it'll still be fun.
And I'm sure we'll be talking about some rape. Come on, rabid dogs.
That's true. So, until then, go and tickle your balls with a hairbrush and listen to us. That's kind of creepy, but, somebody might be doing that. If you do, send the video to Todd.
Don't do that. All the day.
You'll go blind.
All right, guys. Good night.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.